Hey, how's everyone doing today? It's Nick back with another episode of the AAU Dream Team podcast. Today we have episode 3. Today we're going to dive into a little bit of baseball, football, a little bit of basketball, especially the NCAA tournament. A lot of teams been upset so far, so we're going to dive into that. So make sure to stick around for the end if you want to hear about that. So right now we're going to get into some trades for the NFL. Starting off, first we have Davante Adams traded to the Raiders. This is a big blow for the Packers because he was your best receiver. He's the best receiver in football, and there's nothing to be said about that. You just re-signed Aaron Rodgers to a 4-year, $200 million contract, and now he doesn't have his go-to guy to throw the ball to. So, yes, you did sign one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch a football for the next 4 years, but now you got to be able to find the cap room to sign a wide receiver, because I know they were having a lot of issues with the cap. So I think that might be why they traded Davante Adams, but I'm not sure. So the Raiders got Davante Adams and gave him a 5-year, $141 million contract. He's making $28.5 million a year, which is a good number to make, no doubt about it. Makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. But the thing about that is the Packers had offered him a bigger contract, and he would have been making more money a year. But he chose to deny it to go play with Derek Carr. And yes, I understand that's his good buddy, his college quarterback. But if you're getting offered more money to be with a better quarterback on a better team, a team that's constantly won their division time and time again, why would you want to give that up to go play for the Raiders, who are in a much, much harder division with the Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs, Denver? All these teams are very, very talented. Why would you want to give up the Packers to play for the Raiders? I don't know. It baffles me. The Packers did receive two 2022 prime picks, one being a first and one being a second, which is not bad. But for Davante Adams, meaning Packers, you have to get more than you have to get more than a first and a second round pick. He's not the prime of his career. You can't just give him up like that. And then, yes, you let go of Smith. That gives you a lot of cap room. Now you don't have to pay Davante Adams, which you're going to have to. But still, you have cap issues, but you need to be able to keep the pieces that you really need. So does this make Las Vegas legit? Does this make them a contender? Honestly, I think it does. I don't know about this year, because you have a very tough division. You have the Broncos. They went out and got Russell Wilson. Chargers went out and got Allen Robinson. And now this gives Justin Herbert two great wide receivers to throw to. Not one, but two security blankets he has. They have a good defense as well. Kansas City's a very tough team. Time and time again, they've proven that they could win. First place how many years in a row? AFC Championship game, I believe 4 years in a row they've hosted. Been to the Super Bowl 2-3 times. They won it once. They're proven winners. So that's a tough division right there. Now you have to be able to really prevail through all this just to win games. And you're playing these teams twice a year. So that's 2, 4, 6 games out of your 17-game season that are going to be extremely tough that you have to win. And yeah, he got his money. We're not going to dwell on the fact that he got his money. But he wants to win a Super Bowl. You have to assume that he wants to win a Super Bowl. So why come to such a tough division, the AFC West? I don't know. He could have stayed in his East division and things would have been a lot easier, in my opinion. Take the money that Green Bay's giving you, be with the better quarterback, be with the better team. You're going to, as long as you're with Green Bay and you have Aaron Rodgers, time and time again, you're going to be in the championship game. I don't know. I don't know why he went to the Raiders. But yes, it does make them legit. It's just they're going to be in a tough division. So it's going to be interesting, because this makes them one of the most dynamic divisions that I think football has seen in a while. Meaning that it's going to be, who knows? You have the Clippers. You have the Chargers, who can win. Denver's a legit team now, having Russell Wilson. I think that was the missing key. I think Denver wouldn't surprise me if they get first place. Chiefs are the Chiefs. Chargers, it's a toss-up. Young team, still have a lot to learn, but I think that they'll be great. Have a young stud quarterback and Herbert. It'll be interesting. I think that the Raiders could have a little bit of growing pains this year. They might have chemistry problems. They might not, between Carr and Adams. They might not, I say, because they played in college together, but it's been a while since college. So I don't know. I think that they'll definitely be good this year. My honest opinion, I don't think that they're going to be any Super Bowl contender worry to a lot of teams, but they'll definitely be good in years to come. I can see them in the Super Bowl, definitely. But the thing about the Aaron Rodgers signing was Aaron Rodgers claims to know that Devontae Adams would never play for the Packers again before even negotiating his contract. Now, he is your favorite target, obviously. He's Devontae Adams. He's the best receiver in football, like I said. If you know that he's not going to play for the Packers again, why do you want to take all this money? You know he wants his money. You've had career earnings. You're towards the end of your career. Give up a little bit of money. Like look at Tom Brady, year after year, gives up money for his team to be able to sign more players. And Green Bay's in cap issues, like I've said. Just give up a little money, let your team sign much better players, and boom, it's gonna help your team out. Because you look at the Super Bowl quarterbacks the past few years, multiple times, they get a lot of money, they don't win the Super Bowl, they don't win the Super Bowl, they don't win the Super Bowl. Brady gives up money, wins the Super Bowl, gives up money, wins the Super Bowl. So give up, Aaron Rodgers. Give up a little bit of that money. Do you really need $50 million a year? No, you don't. Give up a little bit of that money. Sign better, help your team, give you more weapons on offense and defense, and boom, you're in a much better situation than the cap that Green Bay's in. So you're sitting there at the table in Aaron Rodgers' mind, negotiating this contract. Why don't you talk to Devontae or the Green Bay organization and see if there's a way that we can get Devontae Adams to stay here? Because if you're the quarterback on that team, now you're throwing to Lazard, right? He's a liability. You have a lot of players on your team that are a liability. It's tough. It's tough because this proves that Aaron Rodgers is, I hate to say it, but he's selfish, and he just thinks about the money. Money talks. He didn't even want to play for the Packers last year. Comes back, plays for them. No one thought that he returned to Green Bay. Comes back for 4 more years. He wants his money. He doesn't care about his team. It shows to me that I personally think that he just rather have a lot of money than win another Super Bowl, which is weird. And the reason I say it's weird is because he is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. He'll never, ever be in the conversation for the GOAT of the quarterbacks because he only has 1 Super Bowl. And that makes perfect sense to me. So if you want to be considered, he's right here right now. If you want to be considered up here, you need more Super Bowls. So why be selfish and take the money instead of doing what's best for your team? I don't know. That's why I say people want their money, and that's all they want. They just think about themselves, not anyone else, in my opinion. If he goes deep in the playoffs, this is how confident I am that he won't even go deep in the playoffs this year, because they're not going to be able to make any moves unless they draft a wide receiver with the Raiders pick, but I don't think that anyone will be good as Devontae Adams. If they go deep in the playoffs, I'll buy Packers jerseys. I'll wear it in every single podcast for years straight, for all I care. I don't see them going deep. That's all. I really don't see it, and it's just unfortunate because the Packers were such a great organization. They had so many bright things going for them, and it's going down the toilet now. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. So another little different. Julio Jones has been released by the Titans. I would like to say it's a surprise, but it's not. He didn't have a great year. He got released by Atlanta last year. Titans gave him a shot. He didn't have much impact. I had him on my fantasy team, so I can definitely let you know he didn't have much impact, which stinks because he's such a generational talent. A little injuries, getting a little older, had to switch up teams. Not that great. He was playing with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's not the best quarterbacks either, so he's getting older. Maybe that has an effect on how Julio's playing, but I don't know. When Julio was out there, he didn't look great. He was just getting shadowed by A.J. Brown a lot. So who should pick Julio Jones up? As of recently, Matt Ryan has been traded to the Colts for a 3rd-round pick, which is pretty weird to see when Matt Ryan was on such a high of his game in the Super Bowl, and next thing you know, he's getting traded for a mid pick. It's just weird to see. But a lot of people are thinking the Colts are going to sign Julio, and this could be a nice kick up for Julio and the Colts because you have Mike Pittman Jr. You'll get Julio. It'll make things fun in Indy because you already have a team that was one win away from the playoffs last year when no one thought it was, when no one thought they would be in that situation, but they choked to the Jaguars. So do they deserve to be in the playoffs? No. You had an easy win and you got your butts handed to you. So I think that Matt Ryan will do some good in Indiana. How much worse can it get from Carson Wentz? But Deshaun Watson, recent news, has been traded to the Browns, which I did not see coming, mainly because when Watson narrowed down his top 3 teams, yes, the Browns were in it, but they backed out after a little bit because they were asking for too much. They couldn't give him the money they wanted. Next thing you know, Baker Mayfield's asking for a trade. Then the Browns go and deny the trade. So you're thinking that they're going to stick with Baker Mayfield. Makes perfect sense. They just denied his trade. But you turn around and the Browns trade for Deshaun Watson. They give up 3 firsts, a third, 2 fourth-round picks, and a 6th-round pick for Deshaun. That is a lot to deny Baker's trade and make him think he's staying here. But I think that this makes the Browns one of the scariest teams in the league. And the reason I say this is you take a look at their defense. You got Myles Garrett. You have that whole defensive line is solid. Your cornerbacks are solid. Your whole secondary, there's not a weak spot in that defense. Then you go to the offense. That O-line is beautiful. His whole thing in Texas was he had no time to throw. He was getting beat up time and time again, always having to run out of the pocket. It was miserable. Now, he gets his O-line that he likes. Now he's in business, right? But also, when you're relying too much on the passing game, you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to turn around and hand that ball off to. That's no joke, right? They were 2 of the best running backs in the league last year, and Deshaun Watson can throw the ball much better than Baker Mayfield can. So, yes, they released Jarvis Landry as well, but still, I think that Deshaun Watson. He's just an amazing talent at the quarterback. I mean, me being a Giants fan, I wish I could have him at quarterback. So even if he has mediocre receivers, they're still going to be very good with Deshaun Watson throwing them the ball. I think that the Browns could be a Super Bowl team to watch out for as long as nothing else happens with Deshaun Watson, which it shouldn't. He might have to serve a 6 to 7 game suspension around there, so that could be some tough times down in Cleveland. But they gave him a lot of money. I believe 4 or 5 years, $153 million, or something like that. I'm sorry that I don't have it written down, and all of his money is guaranteed, which is something that you never see before in the NFL. That was what got everyone. That was what turned people's heads. They've never seen people get 100% of that money guaranteed. And I think that the Browns are in win now mode. They know what they need. They have it. They're ready to go. That's the whole reason that Deshaun really wanted to go there. He wanted that money. But on the other hand, Baker Mayfield, going back to him, his trade value it's nothing because teams are going to look at Baker. He's an above-average quarterback. He's not the best, but he's an above-average quarterback. They're going to say, okay, I want him. The Browns are going to be like, all right, give me 2 firsts, whatever they want. The teams are going to be like, why would we do that? Because you already have a quarterback. He's just going to sit there and be a waste of space. I can give you for cheap, You don't need him at all. So that's what could definitely affect the Baker Mayfield and the Browns. But who knows? Is he going to be the backup quarterback? Are they going to keep Baker for those 6 or 7 games that Deshaun's out and then move him? That would be the best bet for the Browns. Is Baker going to want to do that? Probably not. There's a lot of situations to be played out, but I think the Browns are a scary, scary team to look out for. Next topic, moving on. We're going to the Super Bowl. Who will be there? A team in my mind is the Bills. The Bills signed Von Miller. Now, you may not think this is a big thing because he's older in his career. But they gave him a big contract, 6 years, $120 million a year, dollars total, $20 million a year. And a lot of people are thinking that they're gonna probably cut him after the third year. Not all the money's guaranteed, obviously, so they're gonna keep him for a few more prime years and then dump him. But this is what the Bills need. They needed that edge rusher on defense, someone that's really going to get to the quarterback, because they have all the weapons they need on offense. They have a lot of weapons on defense, great cornerbacks, good line, but Von Miller really puts them over the top. There's not much to be really said, but I think the Bills are going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think that they're finally going to get past, let's say, the Chiefs if they had to play them again, but with a heartbreaking loss last year. I could have sworn the Bills were going to go to the Super Bowl, but Patrick Mahomes does his thing. Next thing you know, he's past them. It's crazy. I feel for the man. I really do, because he plays his heart out. One of the best young talents in the league. Wasn't highly recruited out of high school. Went to not a big college. One of the best MVP frontrunners that you could see now in the league. I think that they make the push and make the Super Bowl. It really wouldn't surprise me. Moving on to a different sport now. We're going to talk a little bit of baseball. So, breaking news, Freddie Freeman signs with the Dodgers. He signed 6 years, $162 million, giving him $27 million a year. Now, it was between the Yankees and the Dodgers, two of the biggest markets in baseball. Who could give him more money, right? All of a sudden, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm getting excited. Oh, we're going to sign Freeman. Next thing I know, we re-sign Anthony Rizzo. Why would we re-sign Anthony Rizzo if we wanted Freddie Freeman? That's how everyone knew that he was going to the Dodgers, which he does. He's returning to his home of L.A. Now, the Dodgers are favored to win the World Series. They got last year's World Series MVP, and he's going to boost them significantly. He knows how to win. He's been there before, one of the best first basemen to play. He's already in spring training. He's in his scrimmages, hitting home runs already. He's doing great. I think that he fits really well with his team. Mookie Betts, Kershaw. There's a lot of talent to be put in one lineup, which is awesome. But the Yankees actually traded for Josh Donaldson. They traded Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela. The reason I wanted to bring this up, it's not the most significant trade that went down this offseason, but it is significant in the fact that Josh Donaldson is the one who called Garrett Cole out about using spider tack. He called him out specifically. Garrett Cole didn't even have an answer. He was sitting like, I don't, he was stumbling on his words. He didn't even give a full answer. He's the man you just traded for, the man that called your star pitcher out. Now, Aaron Boone did pull Garrett Cole and Donaldson into the locker room. They all talked it out. Everyone's cool. At the end of the day, they're just here to win. Josh Donaldson really didn't do anything wrong. He's just, hey, don't cheat to play the game. I know a lot of people do it, but you don't have to cheat to win. That's not what you're supposed to do. So he's a great third baseman. The Yankees also got a shortstop and catcher in the trade, so it does solve our shortstop problem. Obviously, we would have rather gotten Correa, but hey, things happen. I think that the Yankees have a very good team. I don't think that they're going to be World Series ready, but I think that they'll make a better push than they did last year, getting embarrassed in the wild card spot. That's just not something I want to see as a Yankee fan. So I hope that Donaldson, the shortstop and the catcher that we got in this trade, can really give the Yankees something that we haven't had in a little bit, just because I feel like we're constantly there but not there. I want to be there and be able to make a run in the playoffs and not have to worry, oh my God, who's going to pitch that game? I know we didn't really get a lot of pitchers this all season, but I'd rather have the firepower on offense than have to worry about, oh my God, do we really have to go to game 7 because we can't score, like we can't get home runs, things like that. I don't know. I just think Josh Donaldson's a good hitter as well. So hopefully things work out. So transitioning now into a little bit of NBA talk. Golden State Warriors all-star point guard Stephen Curry is done for the season after Marcus Smart foul. So this is a little weird because I opened Instagram one day, saw the play, Steve Kerr's flipping out, and I'm like, oh, maybe Marcus Smart did something wrong. You know, he usually, it's not surprising if he does things like that. I look at it closely. it was just a regular play. I didn't think that Marcus Smart did anything crazy to go and hurt Curry. They were just going for the ball. He didn't even land on him. He landed near him. They both fell, but it wasn't anything dirty. So it's a left foot injury. He has a sprained toe. He's out 3 weeks, but he will be back for the playoffs. So it's not the biggest of worries for the Golden State Warriors. But now the Warriors are hurt, right? You're the best player, one of the best players on this earth. You're a star player, and now he's out. Klay Thompson's still getting, I don't want to say back into things, but he's not his full old self yet. He is getting back into it. He hasn't played in 2 years. He's playing his butt off. Draymond Green's playing great. Jordan Poole's playing great. So I don't think it's a huge concern. But yes, he is out for 3 weeks. So you have to be able to, you don't want to drop, because it's right near playoff time, and the Western Conference is pretty close. You don't want to drop significantly because they're in the 3 to 4 seed right now, which I think they'll be able to stay in that area. But you don't want to be dropping to the 5-6 spot and having to play the Grizzlies or, the Suns, anything like that. I know Suns are pretty much going to lock up first place, but granted, anything can happen in the NBA. You don't want to be in that situation, basically. Curry coming back all fresh off the injury. Who knows if his foot's still going to hurt. Anything could happen. You don't want to end up in that spot, basically. But Karl-Anthony Towns the other night dropped 60 points, 17 rebounds, and he shot 61%, went 7 for 11 from 3. That is the performance of the year. Everyone thought nothing can be topped. Nothing's even going to come close to that. He had 32 points in 1 quarter. That is insane. He's playing for a young player. He's phenomenal. He's leading this Timberwolves team to a great spot in the West. They're making a push for the playoffs. But the day after, Kyrie Irving dropped 60 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. He shot 20 for 31, 8 for 12 from three-point range. Kyrie is something special. Very, very special. But unfortunately, he can't play all the games. So how can you judge this Nets team with and without Kyrie? Because with Kyrie, no one's really beating them. Not in the 7-game series, at least. So how do you judge this Nets team? How do you do it? Is he going to be able to play in the playoffs fully? Probably not. Is he only going to be playing away games? It's very, very hard to judge because when he plays, he's putting up these numbers. And I was listening to a little video. They said when Kyrie plays, and I couldn't agree with this more, he is on MVP status. He's MVP level, MVP caliber if he can play a whole season. But they will never, ever, ever give him a max contract. The reason being for this, he's always in some type of problem, some type of issue. This year with the COVID, he's injured a lot sometimes. He gets things in his head. He's burning sage before. I know that's not anything bad, but he just does he lives in Kyrie's world, basically. He goes MIA, just buying houses for people. Yes, it's obviously a great thing to do, but you have to let your team know what you're doing, and you can't just go out of the picture like that. You just can't give him a max contract because he lives in Kyrie's world, like I said. He's a head case, and it's unfortunate because when he was back on the Cavs, when he was young, when he didn't have that big ego, he was just so happy to be playing, and he was one of the best things you could have ever watched. Now he realizes where he's at in life, and he just does what he wants, and it's a shame. It really, really is. Now, what have you all been waiting for? Getting to March Madness. I think that Gonzaga, Duke, even Villanova. I know Villanova's good every year, but they always out in the first, second, third round. This year is something special about them. I know they're ranked 2, but something is just very special about this team. They're really sticking it to their opponents. Really, really sticking it to their opponents. A lot of high seeds have already been eliminated in the March Madness tournament, but they're really killing their opponents. So that's why I didn't make a bracket, thankfully, because I just would have been so stressed out already this year. I usually make a bracket, but I didn't. And I would have had Villanova losing. I would have had a lot of other teams like Kentucky. I would have had them going far, but good thing I didn't because it wouldn't be good for me. But I did, when I wrote my notes, I already said I feel like there's going to be a lot of upsets this year, but I didn't think that it would be this many upsets already on the first 2 rounds already gone. I mean, I have this all crossed out, but I had Gonzaga, Baylor, Tennessee, and I just was like, there has to be one high seed that's gonna make it deep. So I said Loyola Chicago, just because they always manage to make a run. They're never ranked anything high. They were ranked 10 this year. They had Sister Jean, I believe, their good luck charm. She's about 101 years old, always going to the games. I thought they would just make it a little farther. They got bounced in the first round by Ohio State. I mean, I'm switching things up here. Gonzaga, Tennessee. It was nuts making this. I just crossed all out. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to guess because I'm going to stress myself out. But getting into the upsets right now, number 5 UConn was upset by number 12 New Mexico State. This right here busted a lot of people's brackets because a lot of people had UConn going pretty far because, yes, they're ranked number 5, but UConn was just a tough, gritty team who could score the ball pretty well, who played good defense as well. Now, this shocked a lot of people because number 6 Alabama, lost to the number 11 Notre Dame. The reason that this not confused, but shocked a lot of people was because Notre Dame had to play Rutgers in the play-in game to see who got the 11th spot. This game went into double overtime, the Rutgers versus Notre Dame game, and Notre Dame ended up winning just by a little bit. And for them to knock off Bama the way they did, that surprised a lot of people. Now, here is the biggest surprise. Number 2, Kentucky, loses to number 15, St. Peter's. St. Peter's is a small D1 school out in Jersey. They have guys from New York and New Jersey. Pretty much that's it. They just beat the number 2 team in the whole entire NCAA tournament, Kentucky. This is where everyone's bracket really went down the drain. Multiple people had Kentucky winning the whole thing, if not winning the whole thing in the Final Four. There is 0 perfect brackets left in the whole entire NCAA men's basketball tournament. There's 2 left in the women's tournament, but who knows now after all these games happen. But I was watching the game. I love watching Kentucky play, but they got outplayed by St. Peter's, plain and simple. Kentucky, they were playing hard, but St. Peter's were playing harder. I feel that when you're ranked very high going up against a team like a number 15 seed, let's say, that's a lot of pressure because you're supposed to blow them out. And if that number 15, number 16, 14, whatever the seed may be, if they even sniff anything that they could even possibly win this game, they're going to win. And the reason I said it is because there's no pressure on them. They're supposed to get blown out. But they play hard. They're in the game. And when they're in the game like that, I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're just going to win because they get all the momentum behind them. And the next thing you know, they're in the Sweet 16. And they just get a lot of like love and praise compared to a 2 seed who's supposed to be in the Sweet 16, Final Four, Elite 8, all that stuff. Number 6, Colorado State lost to number 11, Michigan. Now, this is obviously considered a upset because 6 lost to 11, but number 11, Michigan, was supposed to win that game, betting-wise and all. So I guess you can kind of call that an upset, but hey, Michigan upsetted another team that they played in the round of 32, so they know how to win. They've been there. They went deep last year, the year before that. They have a lot of talent. That's why I don't really consider this one too big of an upset. But number 5, Iowa, lost to number 12, Richmond. Richmond never really is in NCAA tournaments just because they're not really that great at basketball, but they really stuck it to Iowa. And this this one hurt a lot of people's brackets as well because number 5, Iowa, was a powerhouse in the tournaments they were playing in before. So I didn't expect them to lose to Richmond either because I just really never heard of Richmond being in this tournament, being anything too great. A lot of high-ranked teams, you don't hear that. So, number 6, LSU, lost to number 11, Iowa State. This one didn't shock me too much. If I was making a bracket, I would have picked Iowa State as well, just because they've been on the roll the past few years, going a little deep, making some nice NBA prospects. That one didn't surprise me too much. LSU, I feel, hasn't done much in the basketball world, in the tournament-wise, past few years, so didn't shock me. This one did. Number 7 USC lost to number 10 Miami. Miami made a little run in the tournament. They beat the number 7 seed. They outplayed them, plain and simple. There wasn't much to that. Close game, don't get me wrong, but that one shocked me. USC having a great year last year in the tournament. It's shocking to see them out in the first round. Now, my finals predictions is number 1 Gonzaga versus number 11 Michigan. The reason I have number 11 Michigan in there is just because I feel like I need a team that's highly ranked to make it to the championship. After watching that Memphis versus Gonzaga game, where Memphis was leading most of the game, even though Gonzaga had a sweet comeback, don't get me wrong, I feel that number 11 Michigan can pull it off. I've been following Michigan for a while now. They have a very, very solid team. I just think, I don't know. I don't see Gonzaga winning it all because they're favored too. They have number 1 overall Chet Holmgren. He's projected to go number 1 overall in the draft. But there could be Duke. There could be Villanova. A lot of great teams. I just feel like after watching the tournament so many years, you really can't put too many number 1, number 2 seeds in the championship. That's just me. I don't know. You can't have any predictions really on the tournament because there's just too much that could go wrong. I mean, you have a number 15 seed in the Sweet 16. It's crazy. This reminds me of Oral Roberts. It screwed me and my brother last year. I made my brother's bracket. I had Ohio State. I had Ohio State. They were ranked, I believe, like number 2, very high like that. Or Alabama, number 2 as well. They lost to number 15 Oral Roberts. It screwed our brackets up. Everyone left and right. It was throwing everyone for a wrench. So there's always going to be a big seed like that, high seed, that's going to upset a lot of people. You just don't know where it is. So when you're making your brackets, you're trying to say, oh my God, well, this is number 10 versus number 7. Number 10 is not that far off from 7. Let's put that as an upset. So you're trying to pick the upsets because a lot of people who make brackets don't watch college basketball. I know I don't watch college basketball a lot during the regular season, but I like to make my brackets. It's fun. So you have to sit there and play little mind games like that. It's fun, but boy, it's stressful when you're really rooting for those underdog little schools against the big schools just because you want to see it happen. But then you're like, I need the number 2 Kentucky to beat number 15 St. Peter's. So it plays mind games with you. But that about wraps it up for this podcast. This is a little shorter just because I'm by myself today. Usually I have special guests or someone else with me, make it a little more fun, a little longer, just because you can go back and forth. But definitely give it a shot by myself since I won't be able to do 2, 3 people, whatever it may be, every single week because I try and upload 1 podcast a week. So give it a shot. I liked it. I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.